Hello, goblins. It's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. It's an episode of this week's Pipes. It's been a funny sort of week. On Tuesday, in the morning, the motor for my dust extractor went kaput. Well, not quite kaput, but it was sparking and flaming, and so I had to turn it off or else the whole workshop would go up. There's dust everywhere, and dust is a really good combustible substance. So I wouldn't have liked it if a flame had caught somewhere. But in my workshop, there's no redundancy. Pretty much everything is essential, is the word. Without dust extraction, I couldn't continue. So I was ringing around people who could do repairs. There really wasn't any. Because of course, a pipe maker needs equipment that is, it's not industrial, but it's not commercial neither. You kind of like strike this weird midpoint. So no one local could do a repair. Although the local guy did say, well, that sounds like the motor. And by the time you're replacing the motor in these things, if I could have bought just the head unit, because it just sits on a drum effectively with a bag that catches all the dust. But anyway, the upshot was, depressingly, I had to buy a new one. Now my old one came from a shop called Axminster. They're a chain of shops. They have several places, and I had one in Nuneaton, which is about half an hour's drive from me. So an hour round trip, not so bad. Check them out. They've closed that shop. Of course they have. The next one is in High Wycombe, which is an hour and a quarter's drive from me. So 2.5 hour round trip. It's not so much, well, everything together was a bit of a pain. The price of the unit, these things aren't cheap. And then the time as well. Thought, oh, this is really going to set me back. But it happens. The last one lasted me nigh on 10 years, so can't complain. If this one lasts 10 years, I guess I'll be happy. I could have done without it, to be honest. Smoking. Just some newly replenished Tilbury. It's been really hot this week, back into the 30s, and we were pretty cool up until last week, and then this week it's just gone mental again. Not really terrible, but very, very, very warm. So yeah, have to cope with those kind of things. One thing I was going to mention, I may be doing the Pipe of the Year for the Speakeasy Forum next year. Maybe. They're currently discussing options at the moment. So if you're part of the Speakeasy Club and you haven't voted on that thread, go in and vote, see which part. I've submitted like a couple of my very sort of popular shapes. So they're all there. And yeah, go and see what you think. If you can hear that, that's Bob. He's a cat on the roof of my other shed. But now, pipes. Okay. I'll show you what I've been up to, and I'm really looking forward to showing you the last one. But first things first. A Dr. Silence reading pipe. I haven't made one of these for a hot minute. This is a red and black theme. No, I'm not feeding you at the moment. No, I'm busy. As you can see, a nice bit of slanting plateau there. You can see the straight grain going off in that sort of flare that it does. It's a really nice light blast. Kind of revealing all the structure, but just as a surface texture. And then Red Cumberland. If you haven't seen these before, these are 7.5 inches long. The bowl is 2 inches deep, so it's for a long, designed for a pretty long smoke. And they're sitters, so you can just pop them down the table when you need to, and they generally stay upright. So yeah, a reading pipe. This year I've made a few, but I think very much in the earlier part of the year. An acorn. Now, you may remember from last week, I said I needed to make another one because I made one like this for the show, and then someone convinced me that they had to have it. So I needed to make another one. So, really nice detail on the blast. Some plateau on the rim. And the Guinness stem. So, with the luck, this guy will make it to the show. I'll have to see. I haven't posted it yet, so no, this one will make it to the show. All right. Let me just. Which way around are you? Oh yeah. Now, I had the start of this idea a couple of weeks ago, but I was umming and ahhing about what shape to put it on. I wanted to do something that I hadn't quite done before. It deserved something a little off the wall. I showed part of the technique on another pipe, but it worked out slightly differently because that pipe was highly rusticated. This one is different. So, it's a gilded lily. That's what Steph said I should call it. In some ways, it's a variegated gilded lily, or a gilded variegated lily. I won't get too hung up on the name. But yeah, so it's been metal leafed. It's not gold, because you couldn't get the colour variation, and I really wanted really something that hadn't been seen before. And yeah, I'm pretty darned happy with it. I kind of wondered how far to go. I ummed and ahed for a week about whether to... Maybe one day I'll do a version of leafing the plateau, but I wanted the contrast. Because that's just such a cool contrast. The black, gnarly plateau rim and then going into the variegated metal leaf. Like giving all like greens and blues, golds and silvers. There's like sparks of orange in there. It's super cool. Texture-wise, I was really umming and ahhing. I could picture it in my mind. Because it was metal leafed, I wanted it, I didn't want it smooth. I ummed and ahed about sandblasting, but I thought that the texture of the sandblast would detract from the metal leaf. I thought it would be too complex, but it didn't want to be smooth. So I really wanted this kind of crinkled, faceted, kind of like crunkled metal. That's kind of what I was aiming at. So that the texture wasn't at odds with the look. I think a sandblast would have been at odds with the look. Maybe. I'm not saying that I won't try it, but... And it's got 5 facets. Because I felt it needed some linear distinction on it. And I didn't want to detract from the bowl, so it's a black stem. I'm not saying I won't do something else in the future, but the black against that colouring of the metal leaf is just something else, I reckon. So there you go. Currently that's headed for the show as well. Yeah, we'll see. Let me just put that down carefully there. Alright, there you go, this week's pipes. With that gilded lily at the end. That was cool. I was kind of chuckling to myself this morning as I was doing it. No one's going to see this one coming. Alright. Yeah, that's it for me. I will be back next week, I should reckon. Yeah, next week. I have every intention of making more pipes, so I'll see you next week. Till then, take it very easy. Your loyal pipe maker.